All right, we are back. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of technical difficulties. Wi-Fi
There always
decided
are.
to Wi-Fi decided to go out on me at 10:30 this morning. So kind of all over the place, but Verizon got us back up and going. Um, pick up where we left off. We did a little show Thursday. Facino, you were actually no, we did a show Friday. Facino, you were at that game. What was that like? Jets Dolphins.
What is it? 11-13. Let's do 2 minutes on this game because that's all it deserves. I've been a fan of this team for a very long time, and this is the worst it's ever been. It's disgusting.
Historically,
There's nothing.
historically disgusting.
It's fucking. It's disgusting because, like, you're proving the Zach Wilson guy's right by having Tim Boyle as your backup. If you just did something,
That's me.
if you just did something, then you would have a quarterback. You'd have a shot. You have a horrible draft pick, a horrible decision, and then you put Tim Boyle behind him, and then you do nothing. You can't do nothing. I don't understand. And when your line doesn't block, when your line can't block, you need to spread you have to move to the sidelines. Plays have to go lateral instead of vertical when you're not stronger than the team across from you. And it bothers me to my core that they would roll out Tim Boyle and say, "Oh, see, nothing would work." It's like, well, who is fucking making the decisions? Enough. The GM needs to be fired.
2 touchdowns on their last 57 offensive drives. 2 touchdowns on their last 57 offensive drives. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. It's just, and no, Larry, it's a Predators jersey. We'll get into why later. Anyways, again, you pointed it out. Zach Wilson defenders. Hell yeah, it wasn't him. We now see everyone's got to go. It's a fire sale. We talked about it on Friday, me and Pask. Salo needs to get the hell out of. We need to get him out of town. We need to get Joe Douglas. I think job's safe, but the number one culprit that we need to get rid of here is Nathaniel Hackett. Nathaniel Hackett's got to go. I'm sorry, Aaron Rodgers. We can't keep this guy around the fucking team. He's like, I don't want to call him a cancer, but he doesn't know what he's doing. He just doesn't know what he's doing. He can't conduct an offense. He's your offensive coordinator. And again, we could sit here and play what if and say what if and just say, oh, but if he had Rodgers, he'd be a superstar. He'd be this, he'd be that. Well, he doesn't. And I'm sorry, but you're not going to have Rodgers for very long either. So without Rodgers, it's just it hurts too. Because you flash back to Friday's show, I genuinely thought we were going to win that game, genuinely, and I didn't want to bet it, and I didn't bet it, but it's demoralizing. It really is, and I think they're done. And the worst part is we're not even going to get a draft pick out of this. We're going to be like 7 or above because we have 4 wins. So we kind of shot ourselves in the foot, and we're probably going to pick up two wins too again, later on in the season. I think.
Over the last 2 years, how many linemen has he cheaped out on in free agency? I mean, Jawan Taylor, Paradis, the center. We lost out to a guard or two, and then we get Lakin Tomlinson. I mean, he's supposed to be a lineman guy. He's supposed to understand the line. We revamped the line. Obviously Hackett hasn't been great, but I've seen Hackett win an AFC divisional game scoring 45 points on the road in Pittsburgh. Like, at the end of the day, like, the offensive coordinator, like the worst offensive coordinator, my stepsister could call, plays for a decent team and they'd score more than 2 touchdowns in fucking 60 drives. Like, it's not like, I know it's Hackett's part of the problem, and I know, and he will get his play calling taken away from him. But
I don't know that he will. I don't know that dude, I wouldn't speak. I wouldn't guarantee that, man. Because everything that I'm hearing is the opposite. And that Sal is not happy there. People are going over him, making decisions over him. It's not really his show. It's Rodgers' show. And Hackett is Rodgers' guy.
Yeah, but you know what?
Ownership is going with Rodgers.
Matt. They love to say that.
No. Well,
Aaron Rodgers has this bullshit persona around him that just has to stop. He hasn't even been near the team. Are they calling him on his cell phone like, hey, Aaron, should we make this decision? Like, how do you not add a quarterback? It's week 1. Your quarterback goes down, and you don't have one. You didn't have a backup. You didn't have a third string. You had nothing. And yes, Zach Wilson was able to win that game. It was a miracle. They had 5 turnovers to win a game in overtime on a punt return. They had 5 turnovers. They beat the Eagles. Sometimes teams win. But it's not like the offense went out there and fucking lit it up. It hasn't happened in 2 years. Like I'm so annoyed that they would first of all, they upped the season ticket 15% before they signed Rodgers. I didn't care. I knew we were going to get Rodgers. Then the guy blows out his ACL or Achilles, and you don't do anything. And then you take my fucking money in November before Thanksgiving for the following year. But in the process of, and I know a lot of fans actually didn't renew their tickets because this is egregious. You can't roll out these guys and then say, I told you so. I told you so. You can't do that. You made a decision. You got Rodgers. Now you have to reevaluate. We're constantly, every week we get on here and we sit on a podcast and we reevaluate our teams. Oh, how do we do this week? What can we do different next week? Was it a personnel decision? Let's have a fucking podcast on the night before the trade deadline because we want to see our teams get better. And he didn't do anything. He didn't he didn't sign a guy off a practice squad. He didn't try to trade for, a late 7th round pick for a guy. He didn't try to sign a guy off the streets like Carson Wentz. He did nothing. And when you do nothing and then you say, well, look, Zach sucks, but look what happens with the next guy. It's like you picked the worst possible person. Like it's like I'm living in my own hell. I went to UConn. The quarterback at UConn from 2013 to 2017 was not Tim Boyle. He couldn't start for a 2-9 UConn Husky program.
Tim Boyle went to UConn?
He went to UConn.
I didn't know
then
that.
on the fucking announcer, they didn't even know he went to school. He comes in the game and they say he went to Eastern Kentucky. Maybe he did. Maybe he did for fucking half a season. He went to UConn for 3 years, threw 13 picks, and fucking got benched 3 times. How is it possible?
157 yards, 3 picks. It was disgusting. Disgusting.
It's so bad.
Disgusting.
And you want to tell me that you're trying? Because I understand tanking. Tanking is something teams do. The Jets did it 3 years ago, and they got Zach Wilson. Why would you tank again? You tanked and you got Zach Wilson. Maybe tanking doesn't work. You have an awesome defense. You have a top 5 defense. Why would you not take quarterback?
We can't even tank the right way. That's how bad we are.
Tanking can work, but there's got to be certain things that you have in place. Like you got to have certain foundational pieces, and you got to have a legitimate plan if you're going to tank.
Dude, how do you tank week 1 with the top 5 defense? We're done. How do you do it? You don't need a quarterback. You need a fucking guy to snap the ball and just try to get it to the guy. Maybe a guy that can move. It's embarrassing. It's so bad. I'm not going to another game this year. I mean, Rodgers is going to come back. And that's the worst part about it. The guy fucking tore his Achilles, said, I'm going to get a experimental surgery. I'm going to try to get back in December. Okay. And then you do nothing? How do you do in that situation? Because since that day he got hurt, he said, I'm going to be back. I'm coming back. You don't fucking believe him? You don't believe the guy because apparently he runs he's the GM, he's the head coach, he's the quarterback, he runs everything. Why don't you believe him on that? Why can't you give him a backup?
You know what the worst part is about this too is that I thought it was going to be different. You watch Hard Knocks, you saw Rodgers' demeanor throughout the whole 4-episode thing, and I guess you can't always believe Hollywood magic and stuff. But Aaron Rodgers looked happy. He looked like he was just veteran leadership, letting people do their jobs, getting what they need to do. But no, and you come back here and we talk about this, and it sounds like it's all the same old bullshit, which really sucks because I don't want that cancer around the locker room. And I guess it doesn't really fucking matter anymore because the Jets are just a dumpster fire. But it's just it sucks,
Facino, could you subscribe to the idea that maybe, just maybe, someone in that front office wants, and by someone I mean like anyone from Woody Johnson down, believes in Zach Wilson and wants to keep trotting Zach Wilson out there and believed that Zach could get them to Rodgers being healthy again.
No.
Like, You don't
Nobody
believe that.
realistically thought that. No.
There's
If you did, you need to be fired.
but
Be
okay.
fired.
Okay. Well, hard to fire the owner, but like someone thought it, right? Because Zach Wilson still has a job in the NFL. He's a third string, but he has a job. And up until 2 weeks ago, he was the starter. So someone believed it. Someone.
Yeah,
Is it
but Matt,
Saleh? Is it Douglas?
Even if the owner believed it, and said, Zach Wilson's our guy, Joe Douglas still could have said, well, we lost a quarterback, so we need to replace the guy we lost, even if it's not going to be
Okay.
and he didn't do it.
Yeah.
He didn't do it. And then 7 weeks later, he signed Trevor Siemian off a practice squad. And then he tells me on Thanksgiving that he hasn't learned. What is he, retarded? Is he an idiot? How could Trevor Siemian? How do you not? He should be playing. How is he not? How did he not learn the offense yet to not be able to fucking get a jersey on Sunday? I can't believe what's happened this year. I got the fucking Super Bowl. The Super Bowl has the team picture that last time the Jets won the Super Bowl. They're all dead.
Not Namath. And until Namath dies, we're not going to have any success. Man sold his soul to the devil for Super Bowl III, and that's it. Namath needs to go.
Namath needs to go. When he dies, there's going to be a celebration. It's going to be weird. It's good, but I think there's going to be a lot of celebrating. His life, obviously, but it's the Jets, man. I don't know what it is.
You saw his name in the news, right? It's kind of not a good look right now. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah.
No.
I don't know what it is. It looks like a grab.
I don't.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's not the best look. Okay. So where are the Jets? Where are the Jets now? Like, is it just
It doesn't fucking matter. They're in purgatory.
Season's over?
No, we're gonna squeak out 1, maybe 2 wins somewhere somehow, and just keep fucking ourselves in the ass, and it's just not going to be good. We're gonna end up with like a 10th round, 10th overall pick, 11th overall pick.
So
we're gonna get nothing. We'll get nothing.
So the better question then is, what do you guys think happens at the end of this season?
I think Saleh leaves, like we talked about on Friday, or gets fired, one of the two. I do think Hackett steps up and takes that job because he's next man and has the experience, if you want to call 6 games in Denver that. And then Rodgers comes back and we try again, and next year something else goes wrong, and it's just the same old song and dance forever and ever.
Do you think Douglas gets fired? Do you think Woody Johnson just cleans house?
I hope
because if he cleans house,
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think anybody gets fired, hononestly, because I think
Saleh's gone.
If you trade for Josh Dobbs, but if you trade for Josh Dobbs week 4, week 5, and then you have the season you had, I could see Saleh getting fired. But when you do nothing, and Tim Boyle is your quarterback in a must-win division rival game, that is you almost cannot fault the coach. That is not fair to him. He had the worst defense his first year. They let up 500 points. They let up half that the last year they played. This year they're great. I mean, they had a few bad plays against the Bills. The Dolphins had a guy open or two, but look, when you go 3 and out every single time, there's nothing.
And even on top of that, defense played pretty well. They had 2 picks, 2 back-to-back picks. So while
the defense scored all the points.
Yeah. I want to say something real quick about the fucking Hail Mary interception thing. That is not the same thing as the butt fumble. At all. People are calling it the Hail Mary, this, that, and the other thing. Another historically bad Jets play. Fuck off. Fuck off. Not the same thing in the slightest compared to the butt fumble.
No, but it's also not Tim Boyle's fault.
It was worse than the butt fumble.
Nobody
ran. No. Not a single player on the Jets ran and tried to tackle him. How can 11 guys not try to make a play? Maybe Tim Boyle, but I mean, he's the most unathletic guy in the entire NFL. Nobody made an attempt to tackle that guy once he picked the ball up. Go watch him play. It was insane. It's like, how can nobody be trying to run from behind him? Everybody, that's a hustle play. I watched Benjamin fucking Watson for the Patriots. I don't know if you guys remember this play. Champ Bailey picked off, it was an interception, and Ben Watson from one pylon went diagonally across the field 150 yards and stripped them at the goal line, and the Patriots got the ball back in a playoff game. The Jets jogged that out. It's like, I understand the season's over, guys. I understand the season's over. But don't you love the game? Like, I don't know. I love the game.
My whole point with that fail Mary was that wasn't Boyle's fault. Like his job is to just get it out into the end zone. Someone's supposed to get in front of that. Like that's not his fault. He did his job.
Bat it down. If you can't catch it, fucking bat it down. That's day one shit.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on.
One more thing. Thing. It's now been 13 years since the Jets have not made the playoffs. You know, if this happened to the Chiefs and Mahomes went down and they rolled out Chad Henne for 14 games, you know what? I understand. But to the playoffs, he won the Super Bowl. You know, he had a lot of recent success. When you have no success, like there should be a sense of urgency. The fact that there's no sense of urgency for this year, that's it. Whatever. Move on.
Let's move on to something happier. Jacksonville, Houston. In Houston, they're giving Houston 1.5 at home. I like the over 47.5. That's what I can tell you.
My boys, I'm rolling with my boys here. I will get into that later because the dogs are eating today. I think this is going to be a tough game for Jacksonville, man. I really do.
How are we feeling? Give me a 1 to 10 confidence meter here for Sino.
I think that they're going to win. I think
Jacksonville?
A rookie quarterback, very good quarterback.
Oh, MVP candidate. Yeah, go ahead.
I think that once you see him a second time, I think things should be a little bit different.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, whatever. Jags got smoked the last time, but there was also guys running wide open. I think that the offensive coordinator beat the Jaguars in week 2. I don't think it was anything else. And we'll see what happens.
Okay. Jerry, you got anything on that game?
No, other than that fact that I'm taking the Houston Texans to win this game because they're dogs, and I think that the dogs are going to be eaten today. They're rolling here, and it's going to be really hard to stop the momentum I think that the Texans have on both sides of the ball for that matter. So should be a good game. Yeah. I think that over is pretty safe, and I'm excited for it.
There's also the Jags. This is the separation week. You know, right after Thanksgiving, teams start to separate themselves from the pack. So if the Jaguars win this game, they basically win the division. They would have a 2-game lead with basically easiest schedule.
6 games left.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I mean, if you don't know what you are by Thanksgiving, you're probably cooked. But I also don't think there are teams that have not looked so good up to this point that still then go on to be in a Super Bowl or win a Super Bowl. I mean, me and Jerry were talking about it Friday.
The Giants.
The Giants are a prime example of that. I mean, 07 and 11, they did not look very good by Thanksgiving, but they figured it out. You know what I mean? They had a hot December, and they rolled that into the playoffs. So I don't think it's like a deciding factor right now, but it's definitely like if you don't have shit figured out by now, you're not. It's probably it. Bengals.
It's not the end of the world, though. Like you could separate and get that division, locked down. But the Giants, the reason that they didn't win the division, they were on the road every game for both those years.
No. 2011 they won the division.
No, you're right. All right, but 2007 they didn't win the division, and they wound up getting hot. So like there was somebody that separated around Thanksgiving and win that division. It wasn't them. But, I mean, you can still get it back together. Like, Texans could lose this game and then win a few, get hot, and make some noise in the playoffs. Absolutely. Same for the Jaguars, but hopefully the fucking Jags win, man. We need this.
I think this 1 o'clock slate is going to be exciting. These games are garbage, but I think that's what makes them exciting. They're all toss-up games that you don't know what's going to happen. You look at the board here. You got –
I got my eyes on Patriots-Giants. I think
that we're just – yeah.
I think that I'm taking. I'm really inclined. What Giants money line?
Oh hell yeah, baby!
Yeah.
Tommy DeVito. He's fucking eating the prosciutto. He's gonna be in the end zone all day. Forget about it. They're gonna embarrass the Patriots. Actually, I don't want to go that far.
Yeah.
I don't want to eat my words that much, but I think they beat the Patriots.
I think so too. I can't. For the life of me, and maybe this is the scary part. Why the fuck are the Patriots 4.5 point favorites?
I don't know.
what?
Especially after what we saw Tommy DeVito do last week. I have no idea why. The Patriots can arguably just as bad as the Jets are right now. Arguably.
You just brought up tanking before, Facino. Like, you want to talk tanking? That's what the Patriots are doing right now.
They're 2-8.
That's what it's looked like since Halloween.
They always do it better than the Jets, no matter what they do. It's a fucking retarded. I'm so upset. I feel like it's just it's just so redundant. We can't talk about it anymore.
There's some really good games though on this 1:00 slate. Pats, Giants, Steelers, Bengals, Jaguars, Texans, Bucks, Colts, Saints, Falcons, Panthers, Titans. It's
all right, so pick a
tasty.
game here, Jerry. We can't just go through a slate. Everybody knows the slate. Pick something. Pick something that you like.
I like them all. I got a 3-pick here that we'll get into towards the end that I really like.
Get into it now. What's your parlay?
All right, so the Hungry Dogs are eating today. My parlay, I got a 3-pick parlay. It's the Giants and Tommy DeVito himself going in there, MetLife Stadium, eating a chicken parm dinner and embarrassing Bill Belichick on the field. The Texans playing a very solid hard-fought game against the Jaguars, as we talked about. I think it's going to be a good game, but you know me, and I love the Texans. I'm going to say right on my boys. And then I sprinkled in a third pick that this is honestly probably the pick I'm scared most about, and I've talked about it with my friends. I'm taking the Browns over the Broncos. And I'll tell you why I'm taking the Browns over the Broncos. The Browns are everything the Jets were supposed to be this year. Well, actually, not supposed to be. The Browns are everything the Jets. How can I say? They weren't supposed to be like this because of recent events with Watson and everything going on and stuff. This is how the cookie crumbled for the Cleveland Browns. The Browns are a complete team around a subpar quarterback, and their stellar defense picks up the slack where their quarterback and their pretty honestly decent offense does. You know, they have a great run game. They have very good receivers. They just don't have a quarterback to get the ball to said receivers, but run the ball. Use Kareem Hunt, use Jerome Ford, the two very dynamic running backs. And then, again, the Browns' defense is just, I believe they're neck and neck with the Jets for top defense in the league. Correct me if I'm wrong.
What are you talking about?
The Jets defense and the Browns defense, neck and neck, 1 and 2.
I think it's the Browns by like a good amount. I think the Browns are the number one by a fair amount.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
well,
I believe, but the Jets are right up
good
there.
Defense. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Good defense. Like it's just, I think this game is going to be good. I think a lot of people are falling into a recency bias trap with the Broncos. Don't get me wrong, the Broncos are playing great, and it's good to see Mr. Unlimited back in his true form, playing okay. But they still stink. There's the deficiencies are still there. They haven't really beat a good enough team for me to like. Sure, they beat the Vikings. Awesome. The Vikings are subpar as subpar can be. Then who else have they played so far? Let's look at their schedule really quick. I don't think I've seen anything. Also, I did not realize that was a 4:00 game. Shame on me. Let's see. They beat the Broncos. They beat the Bills. The Bills are fucking floundering. They got lucky against the Chiefs. And other than that, they lost just about everything else. No, they beat the Bears. Fuck the Bears. Bears stink. So, they're not a good team. They've been playing okay recently, but I think that the Browns defense really puts a hurting on them. And again, this is a closer game where you're looking at a game that's much more of a toss-up with Pats Giants that should be a +1.5. This game is a +1.5. I don't know why. So I'm gonna
I see
the Browns
2
again,
right here on the score.
I like 2 even better than +1.5. I'll be honest with you. And the Browns are dogs. I got the Browns for +100. I locked this in. I broke my cardinal rule and I locked this in as soon as I woke up and looked at the board because the Giants are +20. The Texans are. I got the Texans at +100. And I got the Browns at +100. So my 3-leg kicked out to be +1020, and a $5 bonus bet's gonna net me out 50. So let's make some fucking money today.
Okay. Yeah, I'm there with you on the Browns. It does scare me. They're at Mile High. That is a legitimate home field advantage, no doubt about it. But the Browns defense is just so damn good. And Russell, as much as he's had some late game heroics and he's looked a little better, he still doesn't look good. Like it's not a good product that we're getting from Russell Wilson. He's making a few better throws per game. I mean, that's how I look at him. Like he's not showing me anything that tells me he looks a lot better, or you know what I mean. Couple better throws a game.
All I want him to do is get the ball to Courtland Sutton. Not Courtland Sutton. I'm sorry, Jerry Jeudy, because I can't afford to lose any more games in this one fantasy league, and I really don't want to lose. So if you're going to throw the ball at anybody, Russell, today, and I know you're watching, throw it to Jerry.
Russell
Jeudy.
Wilson could be an
Get me a
MVP
touchdown.
candidate
Not this year.
if he has a strong finish. He might win the MVP. If the Broncos make the playoffs and he has a strong finish, he actually would probably. He probably would win the MVP. I don't think anyone's separated themselves.
Russell would win the MVP over C.J. Stroud?
Yeah.
In what world?
I think
in
CJ
what world?
Stroud might walk out with the fucking.
CJ might have 50 touchdowns when it's all said and done. He's having a ridiculous year.
You're looking at the offensive rookie of the year, and I think the league-wide MVP.
Yeah.
I think I could be wrong about that, but I think that's where he wins this.
It's hard.
CJ Stroud has 17 touchdowns and 5 interceptions.
Yeah, look up his rushing touchdowns. He's got like 5 or 6 rushing touchdowns.
Let's find out.
Who else is even in the conversation? Maybe Jalen Hurts.
He's got 2 rushing touchdowns.
Maybe Jalen Hurts.
He's got 19. He's got 19 total touchdowns. He's responsible for
5 picks.
That's pretty damn good.
Yeah,
that's very good.
What does Russell Wilson have?
Not bad.
Russell down the ball.
I'll tell you right now.
You would be surprised.
Here, Jerry, you get on that.
He's got
Russell
9.
Told you.
Be
Russell
careful.
Wilson has 19 touchdowns, 4 interceptions.
How many times has he fumbled?
I don't know. I'm looking at his box stat line.
5. Look, at the end of the day, both of these quarterbacks are having really good years, and nobody wants to talk about Russell Wilson's good year. That's basically what I'm saying. If the Broncos make the playoffs,
because he's not having a good year.
Yeah, but you also have to remember
206 yards a game, dude.
He's played 2 good games back to back, and that's now all of a sudden he's in the MVP candidate. No way.
Listen, hey,
right now.
I tell you what, Facino.
Don't kill the messenger. The guy's got more touchdowns than everybody. And nobody wants to talk about it.
You're not the messenger. You got his fucking dick in your mouth. There's a difference.
No. People have not been following Russell Wilson because of look. He's had over 100 quarterback rating in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games out of 11.
Listen,
he's had over 100 QB.
Hear me out.
That's the biggest
today.
Stat in the fucking game.
Okay, but today,
he's consistently playing well.
Today, Russell Wilson is playing the best defense in football, in all of American football. In the entire planet, on planet Earth, there is no better defense right now than the Cleveland Browns. Okay? If Russell comes out, doesn't turn the ball over, throws for, 250 yards and 3 touchdowns and lights it up, Facino, you got my vote, pal. You got my vote. All in. Russell Wilson for MVP. We'll scream it from the rooftops. But you know what? If he comes out today, turns the ball over once, maybe scores, and under 200 passing yards, what are we going to keep saying? We're going to keep making excuses? You're getting paid a lot of fucking money, a lot of money to have that job. They gave up a lot of draft capital. They have now fired a head coach, partially because of Russell. Let's be honest here. Nathaniel Hackett sucks. Yes, Nathaniel Hackett sucks. But man, if Russell was just a fraction better last year, Nathaniel Hackett would probably still have a job. Okay? Do you know if they had scored, I believe it was more than 17 points, if they had scored at least 18 points a game last year, or if they had like over 18 or 19 points in each game last year, they would have been a 4-loss team.
Look.
That's an indictment on the quarterback. You are the quarterback. You run the show. You're the guy. You run the offense. Right or wrong, when you're making, come on, Facino.
Look, he's never won an MVP, and if he throws 30 touchdowns and 5 picks, it'll be a narrative, and it should be because he's playing really well. Last year, I don't even want to think about it because the Jets are going through it now. So clearly, it wasn't Russell Wilson. This guy is one of the worst play callers of all time, and there's nothing we can do about it. And there's nothing Russell Wilson can do about it. You know what though? Denver Broncos are a smart organization. They traded for a really, really good head coach.
Are they?
You know what? They are. They won a Super Bowl.
They haven't gotten the quarterback position.
They won a
right?
Super Bowl in the last 10 years. They had fucking Peyton Manning. They were able to get him to the Broncos, and then they were able to revamp their team. They traded for another Hall of Fame quarterback, and you know what? They just put a Hall of Fame coach with him, and all of a sudden, the Broncos beat the Chiefs. They're winning games late. They have a horrible defense, but they're over 500, and they're starting to gel. And if they could win today, people will really start talking about these guys.
Is it a horrible
All right,
defense?
so we'll see. Then next week when we're sitting here and the Broncos go from fucking Jesus Christ.
Pacino, is this really a horrible defense? Their past 5 games, they've given up 20 points to the Vikings, 22 to the Bills, 9 points to the Chiefs, 9 points. The Packers, 17 points. The Chiefs, they gave up 19 in a loss. And then they lost to the Jets.
Well, it's just their overall body of work hasn't
under.
been fantastic, but they've been playing better. And Russell Wilson's look.
If we go to Sunday show, and
what if
if
the Jets had Russell Wilson? We're in the playoffs.
No, we're not.
You know?
No. I would say that. I would agree with Pacino.
Maybe with a different play caller, but I mean,
no. 100%. I agree with that. If you guys had a quarterback, you'd be a playoff team right now. You'd be like 6-4.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, you would.
I swear to God.
Having a quarterback.
Would you rather, Jerry? Would you rather have drafted Will McDonald or traded that pick for Sean Payton? Who's the better franchise?
Ronald McDonald, because it's not going to matter.
They make the right moves sometimes, and that
Pacino, do you have a fangirl here?
No, but I agree. Lamar's the fucking. He's
Will's
really
wife.
the MVP.
That's
he
Will's wife.
That's Will's wife. Okay. Shout out to Will. That's awesome.
Let's get into Lamar. The Ravens playing this week, right? Who are they playing this week?
I believe they have.
I think they're prime time.
Who are they beating this week? Because that's all they do.
The Chargers. They're playing the Chargers Sunday night. That's a win.
That's a lock.
That's a win.
Ravens -3. That's a lock.
See. I hope so. Lamar, man, he's another one that could start pulling away in this MVP race. He's got to have a few good games. The record is definitely impressive. I think right now, though,
I hate
it's Jalen Hurts
so much, and I hate the Chargers. So, you're not wrong about that. I can see that, but I think Stroud gives Jalen Hurts a run for his money. But dude, the Chargers suck. I hate the Chargers so fucking much. The only other fraudulent team worse than the Chargers might be the Cowboys. That's it. That's it. They get so much credit for doing nothing. And this should be a 6.5 spread, and it's 3 because Vegas is in love with Justin Herbert. I don't know what he has on the bookies in Vegas, but it's ridiculous.
Because he can throw a touchdown at any time. Him and Josh.
We should make some money on it.
Can he? Then why doesn't he?
Well, they drop it in the end zone sometimes.
Have the fucking flock. They're at SoFi. I was gonna say they're at the bank. They're at SoFi. I'll calm down. But have her the flock. I don't give a shit. They're gonna go.
Imagine
get the balls off them.
You could almost argue they're better. They're better on the road than they are away sometimes. The Ravens.
The Ravens?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they are.
Imagine you're. What was I gonna say? Imagine you're 4-6. You blew a 30-point lead basically in the playoffs last year. You can't win the division. You're 4-6, and you still have a head coaching job. That guy needs to be fired, man. That's another thing. The Chargers, it's a lot of malpractice.
He lost his
going
luster. Dude, his whole claim to fame was his riskiness, and he doesn't play by the rules, and he does this and that, and he's gonna go for it on 4-15 and get a first down. He doesn't do it anymore. He's a coward.
If they don't get Belichick, because I saw them named as one of the teams that might get Belichick. Chargers, yeah, I see the Chargers and I see the Commanders. If they don't get Belichick, do you think there's any idea? Do you think there's a possibility? Do you think there's a world where they fire Brandon Staley and they finally give Kellen Moore a shot, just like an interim year, just to see what the kid could do?
Yeah, that would be fine. If they lose tonight, they're probably firing him.
Honestly, if I'm Chargers, that'd be what I would do. I would fire Brandon Staley after you lose to the Ravens tonight, right? I'd fire him, and I would hand the keys to Kellen Moore for the next month. And I would say, buddy, this is your shot. Let's see what you could do. You give him a month, because there's still a hypothetically in it, right? I think they're mathematically...
The 7th loss makes you have to win out in the AFC.
You have to win out, right? But okay, whatever. It makes for a good story. So give the keys to Kellen Moore. If you end up not getting Belichick or you end up not getting another candidate that you really like, why not give Kellen Moore a shot for one season to kind of run the show? I mean, listen, I was at a point where when the Lions fired Patricia, they let Darrell Bevel run it, and Darrell did an all right job. Now, I was never the biggest fan of him as a hire to begin with, but from everything I had heard, everybody was a lot more loose around him. He was kind of letting things fly, and I think part of it was just because it was a lost season, so, going forward on fourth, whatever. But I was in the world of, like, if the Lions don't love who they have, because I knew they were going to interview Marvin Lewis. They did interview Marvin Lewis from the Bengals. And I was like, honestly, I really don't I mean, I wasn't totally against a retread, but, like, I'd rather just give the keys to Bevel for another year, see what he could do, and then next year, you go and you make your hire. But if I'm the Chargers, that's what I would do. I'd let Kellen Moore run the show. The kid's been an offensive coordinator for a long time in this league. He's a very smart guy. Definitely had some nice games at Boise State years ago when Boise had those runs. So,
well, people actually think, a lot of people think Brandon Staley's an offensive-minded coach because of the way they're always going for it on fourth down. The guy's a defensive coordinator, and he calls the plays on defense. You have Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, Derwin James, Kenneth Murray. They had J.C. Jackson. They had Desmond King. They're just, how could you have all this star power and all these players that individually are great players, and then you don't have a defensive scheme that works to their, strengths? Like, you can't let up 25 points a game with those guys, especially with Justin Herbert. They go down the field and score. Like, the defense isn't on the field as much as other defenses. He's a failure. Is what it is.
I never understood the whole not retaining interim head coaches, like at least for like a year or two, just to give them a shot. Like you saw it with the Raiders. Was it Rich Pasticchia? Was his name? I think right.
Rich Bisaccia.
Yeah.
Rich Bisaccia.
They brought in after Gruden left, he was the interim, and he turned things around and had like a decent end to the season. And Mark Davis said, "Okay, thanks, but no thanks. Here comes fucking jerk off Josh McDaniels, and we'll call it a day and ruin the franchise."
That was a disaster.
Yeah.
They should have given Rich a fair shot. They absolutely should have given him a year. When he got let go there, he personally sat down. Then everyone, I think I don't know if he included the practice squad, but I know he wrote the entire roster a letter. Each player individually got a letter from him. He sat down in his hotel room and wrote a personalized letter to every single guy, thanking them.
Yeah, it's wild.
That's cool. That's cool shit.
That's what you want.
I don't understand it. Yeah.
Yeah. It honestly, we get so, as like football junkies, we get so caught up in scheme and X's and O's and rosters and personnel and so many things, when in actuality, what makes a great head coach is like being a great delegator, right? Like admitting that you're not the best at everything. You have deficiencies, and that's why you hire people. And B, it's getting people to want to play for you, to want to sweat and bleed for you. That's the name of the game right there. Matt Patricia was literally a rocket scientist. And because he was such a dickhead, nobody wanted to play for him. Dan Campbell gets hired, gets up on a podium talking about biting kneecaps and drinking beers, and he's got them in the position to win the division for the first time since 1993. Like, you can't tell me that there's not a correlation there. I mean, you get where I'm going with that, Facino? Or
yeah, no, 100%. If Bisaccia the problem with Bisaccia is that he was going to need a really good OC, and these OCs nowadays, they have these egos. Their heads are so big. Like, the OC wants to be the head coach. Well, I'm a no. Stay in your lane.
Well, you
Josh
saw
McDaniels would have.
Josh,
yeah, I think Josh McDaniels would have been a fine OC for the Raiders under Rich Bisaccia.
I feel like we went through that. I mean, life is a cycle, right? I feel like 10 years ago, 11, I would say between 10 and 20 years ago, we went through that with defensive coordinators. where you saw defensive coordinators have these big egos and these big personalities, and everyone's talking about him. Rex Ryan, right? Does that, then becomes a Jets head coach. Matt Patricia out in New England, the guy with the backwards hat and the beard, everybody loves him. Comes to Detroit, fails miserably. Jim Schwartz, right? This big defensive-minded guy in Tennessee gets a job in Detroit. The list goes on and on. I think life is a cycle. Now that's the offensive guys that everyone's talking about, and the defensive guys are kind of these like raggedy dudes showing up in a sweatshirt and jeans on the sideline, like, you kind of know who they are. You know what I mean? Now it's the offensive coordinators that is on everyone's mind, and these big personalities and the big egos, like you said, Facino. It's got to be a balance. It's got to be a good balance. But it does. It falls back onto the head coach. It's taking control and delegating properly, and admitting fault, admitting where you're not so good at one thing. That's why I never love a head coach calling plays offensively or defensively. I don't like that one bit. Our pal Chris chimed in. Life is a highway. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Very productive.
Wise words. No, but you should be able to have confidence in your coordinators and let them do their jobs. And when they're not doing their jobs, give them not an ultimatum, but fucking get them out of town. Get them out of town. That's it. If you can't do your job correctly, don't overtake the play calling things. Get a new coordinator. Fuck off. Go to college, dude. You want to go have fun? Go to college. See you later.
Will's wife is continuing the Ravens tradition here. She's chiming in. We're in trouble with Andrews out, but Flowers is step up. Yeah, I mean, losing Andrews is big for the Ravens. Like we always say, that's Lamar's safety blanket. But you have some other good receivers there. Flowers is a good receiver. It looks like Odell, Ralphie saying Odell is stepping up. Odell is definitely starting to come into his own, but
yeah,
the speed's not there like it used to be for sure with him. But I mean, his hands
also
Andrews
might not be out for the year, right? There's a
I think he's done. I think he's out for the season.
Is he? I thought he broke his ankle.
Maybe playoffs.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe he can make a return for a playoff run.
But I mean, what about Isaiah Likely? I think he was a nice surprise last year. He's out of Coastal Carolina or something. He's like a no name guy. Tight ends usually takes a year or two to really kind of fit in with the offense. I would love to see Isaiah Likely kind of pop off. And that's the type of quarterback Lamar is, like Lamar's he's gonna throw it to him. You guys, he's able to bait linebackers. So if you could bait linebackers to kind of, make them recognize the run, Isaiah Likely should be just as open as Mark Andrews. Like there's those plays where he's thrown over the top and double coverage and Mark Andrews makes those, high point catches. But, those are only 2, maybe 3 times a game. So you do lose those, but, it's just time to get a little bit more creative. Keaton Mitchell time.
They're a big time next man up team, which I appreciate too. Like their depth is pretty unmatched, if you ask me. They have a great running back. Like they have 3 very solid running backs with Gus Bus, Justice Hill, and who's the third? Why am I drawing a blank? Oh no, he's hurt now. But they still have that third running. Yeah, they still have the third running back that's decent enough to do. They have decent receivers now. He has actually weapons, so that conversation's out the window. So I think
every week he gets more carries.
Every week, most complete the Ravens have looked in a long time, which is good for them.
Without a doubt.
One more game in the 1 o'clock window. It's going to be interesting. Pittsburgh and the Bengals.
They fired Matt Canada. Canada on Thanksgiving.
I know. I'm kind of tempted to take Pittsburgh today.
Well, Matt,
I think I would. I think the Bengals are done. Done.
We'll see.
I don't know. What are you going to tell me, Facino?
Fucking Kenny Pickett sucks.
Kenny Pickett sucks, but
same shit.
The Bengals, is this a trap game? No. You're talking about it's like a trap game, but I feel like it's like vibes of every time a team fires a head coach, they usually come out and win that next week. I think it could be that with Matt Canada and Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh's not that good, but I think they're just gonna back into the playoffs, going 9-8, 10-7, winning their division.
Do the Lions play the Steelers this year or no?
No. Why?
Watch the game. Watch
You
the
want to
game
take
in
the-
its entirety today. Watch this guy play in his entire. Like Kenny Pickett, man, he's not.
No, he's
NFL
awful.
quarterback.
No. I think he's terrible.
Because it's insane. I would love to, taking a trip to
I
Pittsburgh.
wanted him to be good.
Best.
I want to go to Heinz Field so bad.
It's
Bad.
so awesome. It's you got to go in the winter too. Like go
Yeah.
in December for like a meaningful Pittsburgh game. What an environment.
I heard it's
I'll go
electric when
there.
they
I
play
want to go
Renegade.
there. Yeah. I
Yeah.
want to go there and I want to go to Lambeau. Those are the two places I really, really want to go.
Lambeau was awesome. That was one of the best football trips I ever had. Probably the best. Well, it was really cool. I don't know. We lost on 2 bullshit calls at the end of the game. So
That's
I don't know,
another one.
but-
You have to go to Lambeau when it's fucking 0 degrees out. It
no,
needs
what
to
are
be
you
cold
fucking
today.
dumb?
You
Yeah,
guys
fucking
needs to be
cold it gets. Get the
Yeah,
fuck
yeah.
out. Yeah,
That's the point.
I work out in the
That's the
cold.
point.
I work out in the cold. It's horrible. It's not fun.
That's the point, though.
It's not
Bundle
fun.
up.
Fuck you.
Bundle up.
Fuck you.
Bundle up. Wear
Go
some
shit in your
layers,
hat.
Bundle up.
Fucking idiot.
Go
Go to
drink a
Green Bay when
frozen
it's
beer.
cold out.
Go drink a frozen beer that's icicling to your mustache. Get your Miller Lite just dripping down from your mustache. Have it freeze and watch the goddamn Cheeseheads win a football game. Get a cheese hat. Have a great day. Have some curds. Get some Culvers on your way home. Enjoy the day. Let it be cold. That's where the Giants playoff game.
Why don't you
against,
go to New
the
England and
Packers
honk the fucking foghorn and light the
No.
fucking light the thing they got, the lighthouse? Why don't you do
I
that?
haven't been up
Why don't you
there.
do
I
that?
wanna
That
go
sounds
up
like
there.
fun,
I
right?
haven't been up there.
You
though.
fucking
No, it doesn't.
idiot.
It doesn't. I don't want to go there, but I will. I will go to Lambeau in a December, just like Heinz Field. I will go to Lambeau. I want to go to Lambeau for a cold game.
Yeah, I went to Pittsburgh, and let me tell you something. When I went to Pittsburgh, it was middle of January, and the tickets on the 50-yard line were $150, which means
Were you at the
even
playoff
Pittsburgh Steelers
game?
fans don't want to go. Yeah, I went to a Steelers playoff game, 2018, and it was awesome.
Nice.
Wait, was
But-
that when
oh
they
my
played
God.
the Jaguars?
Yes, it was insane.
How do you leave that out? That's
Uh,
the reason you went, you retard.
yeah, well,
We
of
shouldn't be
course.
saying that. That's my bad.
But yeah, we'll do Mount West. But I said it. You said it, Jerry. Your turn. So that team, and it is what it is, man. It's cool to see a fan base really love a team like that. And when you see the Steelers always going over 500, yeah, Mike Tomlin is probably the reason. However,
Yeah.
you cannot count out how loud and how awesome the fans are and how it motivates those players to win at home. That's why they're always over 500.
It's a very good front office too. It's a very good front office, and it's a very good staff around the team. I mean, everyone's totally bought in over there. The Rooney family. Like this is what they do.
That's how
They're
you.
not
That's
really-
how you run a franchise.
Yeah.
They are like textbook how to run a franchise.
Yeah.
But
Very
like going back to the Matt Canada thing, he was the first coach of any sort for the Steelers organization. He got fired mid-season since like 1946, which is crazy.
Yeah, they don't do that.
No,
I mean, that organization's they've only had like 6 or 7 head coaches,
yeah.
which is crazy. You know,
Yeah,
All right,
interesting.
Look
boys.
at the success.
what else we got, boys? We got anything else tonight?
No, what's your picks? You didn't give us your picks yet.
I was so wrapped up in my Wi-Fi problems and doing my laundry this morning that I did not. I didn't make anything. I'm gonna start. I've started to tease this week, and it has worked out quite well. So I'm going to continue that. I like Giants money line. I like Houston money line too. But
Sprinkling Browns money line. Ride the train. Ride the train. Come with me.
No, I will.
Come
I
with
will.
me.
But
Let's get
I
ready.
stagger my bets. I don't mix 1 with 4. I have 1 o'clock bets and I have 4 o'clock bets. I don't mix things up.
I'm normally
I don't-
like that too. I didn't realize the Browns are at 4 o'clock.
Yeah. So,
I'm usually like that too.
but I like the Giants today, and I like the Giants enough to say fuck the points. I think I'm just going to take a money line. I mean, they're almost $200, so I don't know. I don't really know why that line is like that. Like we said, it doesn't really make sense, but
Can I
that's
give you
what
a
I've got so
suggestion?
far. Yeah. You tell me to tease them?
Browns Broncos under.
I don't think so.
No,
Actually,
I don't know what
yeah.
I haven't looked at the line.
That's
but
actually a great
just-
idea.
Yeah, Just think about the defensive matchup.
37.5, though. That's a low line.
That's a little low. If you
But
want
you
to
could
buy
probably
that up to
tease it up to like 45. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, 45. That's a lot. But I was going to say, if you buy that up to 40, I think you'll be sitting pretty.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It's at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, I do want to just touch on one more thing quick. Two things, actually.
Go.
Tommy DeVito. I think, when you give a no-name guy that there's no film on, you give him an opportunity, has a little bit of wheels to him, no line, trying to get it done. Give this guy an opportunity. He's got 5 touchdowns and 1 pick in his last 2 games, over 100 quarterback rating, 66% complete or 60-something% completion percentage. I think he's probably going to stick a little bit in this league, maybe as a backup. But it's cool to see. He's Don Bosco prep. He's a New Jersey guy. Giants gave him a shot because somebody got hurt. I wish another team in New York would do something like that. Give somebody a shot. Who knows, young guy with legs.
Dude, honestly, fuck it. They should keep him on and let him play for Dimes next. Not all of next year, but like we talked about ad nauseum with Chris when he's here. Dimes isn't coming back week 1. Leave him on. Let him fucking lead you guys. And if he's playing well throughout that, even when Danny Dimes comes back, let the kid have the ball.
You have to hope that the Giants have something else planned at quarterback by that time, because they will be picking high.
Don is done.
We have to really hope the Giants have a better plan than Tommy DeVito next year.
It's tradable.
It's a good story.
Yeah.
But it's not, you don't want to roll into the season with Tommy DeVito. You know what I mean? It's one thing if you're a Syracuse football fan, that's your quarterback, and, your expectations aren't really high anyway, and it's college, right? And you're in the ACC, but when you're talking about the NFL and you have aspirations of a playoff game again at the end of the year, you don't want to roll into the season with Tommy DeVito, I don't think.
He made himself a lot of money the past 2 weeks. If he can keep it up, he'll have a job. I mean, it's wild. And also,
he's on a rookie deal. I mean, he's going to be on this rookie deal for the next probably 2 years.
Yeah,
right? Was he drafted?
New York.
No.
He'll be relevant for
That's true.
He's going to get paid. He'll have a fine career, even if it's not.
He's never buying a beer in Hoboken again. That's for sure.
No. And also the Colts. They're 5-5. With Gardner Minshew. There's nothing spicy about the team. Nothing that makes you want to talk about them. But I mean, if they win, they're 6-5, and they have. You
think they beat the Bucs today? You think they beat Todd Bowles?
Yeah, I think they beat him. I think the Bucs are kind of frauds, and I think the Colts are frauds too. But I think that it's just the AFC is so stacked this year. All these teams are 500 and they're playing for something. And Gardner Minshew again. Gardner Minshew's like the 32nd best quarterback in the NFL. With a decent team, he could perform.
No, come on. Don't say that. He's better than that.
Well, I don't know. I mean, out of the guys that are healthy right now, yes, he's way better than that. But at week 1, when you're putting a team on paper, I think he's like number 32. So every year the rookies come in, and he'll probably sit behind rookies for the rest of his career, like Tyrod Taylor. But at the same time, a guy's built a great career for himself. He comes in, he wins games. The team's happy. Everybody's fucking bouncing around. He's a great locker room presence. I think I would love to see the Colts kind of, do something. Maybe get a playoff game. Get those guys some experience for Anthony Richardson next year. That is the whole point of a backup. Yeah. That's why you sign a backup. You sign a backup
because you want a backup to be 50%. You want a backup to be 50%. If you lose your quarterback for 4 games and your backup could win you 2, that's a good backup.
Yeah.
That's
Gardner Minshew? They're 5-5.
Your backup's job is to not lose your season, right? Your backup's job is when your quarterback has to miss 2 games with a high ankle sprain or whatever it may be, to keep things afloat, and for you not to look back at your season and say, wow, if we only had a good backup, we'd be in the playoffs right now. Or if we only had a good backup, we would have won our division by now. That goes back to why the Lions invest, a little more into Teddy Bridgewater this year. Teddy Bridgewater's, I'm not saying he's the greatest guy in the world, but he's a more than quality backup.
He's a serviceable backup.
He's a serviceable backup. And that's why when the Jets quarterback situation got so dire, people were mentioning the Lions. I said, absolutely not. There's no way Brad Holmes is going to trade this guy away. And yeah, we may not have to use them, and thankfully we didn't. But that's your insurance policy. You have car insurance for a reason, right?
Talking about Hooker?
No.
Oh.
Bridgewater. Hooker's next year. Yeah, what? What's that look? Hooker's come back from ACL surgery.
Hold on. I didn't even. I forgot Teddy Bridgewater was on the Lions.
Yeah.
You guys, we could have got him for a 5th-round pick. The guy
We weren't going to trade him.
Let's do asshole of the week. My asshole is Joe Douglas. 4 weeks in a row. My asshole every week till he's fired.
No, but
Embarrassing.
But the Lions weren't going to give him up for a fucking 5th. They weren't going to do that. That was their insurance policy because Hooker wasn't ready yet. Hooker's like just starting to throw now. He's not even. I don't even think he's been activated. He's not on the roster or anything yet. He's still like not PUP, but he's not playing yet. Hooker tore his ACL in like late November last year.
You know what, man? I gotta be honest with you. We all know the answer. Joe Douglas didn't even call. He didn't even call. He's fucking hasn't went. He hasn't.
I
went
didn't
to
hear
work
any
since,
reports.
September 11th. He hasn't went to work. How's he gonna make a phone call at the beach? Terrible. Guy couldn't bust tables at a restaurant.
Not at the castle. Not at the fucking castle.
Fucking bust
Not-
tables at an Applebee's.
He ain't selling no solar panels.
He couldn't fucking cold call for the Indian telemarketing company.
He couldn't cold call for cold cock.
It's insane. So
Zach Wilson's going to be busting tables at a Leaky Castle, though.
Zach Wilson's going to be selling it. He's going to be an insurance man.
Zach Wilson's finally, now that he'll be out of the league, he could finally take his ADD meds. So he'll be fucking able to function because he's not functional. He can't do his job.
All right.
Anyway,
We got anything else, boys?
that's it.
I am chilling.
All right. Facino, do we have you Thursday? All right, we'll talk about this off air.
Think so.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you Thursday. Lions fans, tomorrow night we will we'll be doing the Sunny Days Detroit show. So we'll see you then. What's up, Jerry? Oh, you want to plug hockey?
Be sure to tune into be sure to tune into Blue Shirt Banter, a new show. It's not really a new show, but we've been doing a couple episodes here. It seems like I'm going to be the permanent third chair. Me and Chris, you might know him from previous episodes of the football show, and another guy that we work with, Aaron Cass. The three of us cover Blue Shirts hockey, and if you know anything about hockey, the Blue Shirts are buzzing. Just took first place overall in the NHL. We're going to cover that tomorrow night and much, much more. So be sure to tune in on our YouTube channel. You can find it on my socials and Jerry's socials and all that good stuff. And thanks for watching. We appreciate it.